somebody's stomach.
Yeah, you can hear that?
Whoa.
Man, this microphone is too good.
Didn't it capture somebody ripping one live on the air one day?
It sounds likely.
I don't know. I don't know if it was Mark or Josh. Probably Mark.
Hey, what's going on?
Who are you talking to?
Damn it.
Well, we're streaming, so.
Yep.
Oh.
Matthew.
Time to be entertaining. Let's go.
Yeah, he's... Yeah.
I got a new camera, that thing, and for some odd reason the aspect ratio is all jacked up.
Either that or Donovan miraculously has scoliosis right now.
Miraculously.
I don't know. Probably the wrong descriptor, but I thought it sounded funny.
Here, I'll fix them on my end. Oh, wait.
Whoa! I just gained 40 pounds. Now I lost it.
There you go.
Now I gained it back. Okay. Super wide.
There. That's my attempt at tweaking it.
Everyone else is super quiet. Why does it keep
There we go.
doing that?
It's because I keep streaming different things, and my settings get changed. Alright, you guys go ahead.
Hello, hello, hello.
Do I need to get my mic closer to my face?
No, it should be good now. Is it pretty even now? It looks like it's even.
I could talk from right here.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the live broadcast of the Making Geeks podcast, the podcast for makers, dads, and geeks. Today we are talking about... It's stuck.
I wish you didn't stop. I was just going to use that. I mean,
Oh,
that was,
sorry.
Yeah.
that was pretty good.
Yeah.
You're putting me out of a job. Go for it.
All right.
So, have we decided what we're gonna do? Are we gonna do the one that Donovan that you posed?
Yeah, it's funny. I had all these ideas of like things, specific things that I wanted to talk about in regards to that idea. And now that you're like, yeah, let's do that, I'm like, oh crap.
What was it?
What was it? I need to make notes. I'm gonna have a little notepad open.
Did you notice? Well, actually, I already talked to you about it anyways, Donovan. But the hero journal ended up following everybody after you mentioned it last week.
Oh, really?
I don't think they followed me. I looked after that when you were like,
they
"Ooh,
should
they
have,
followed
because
me."
you were tagged on that same post.
I know.
Look at us being influencers.
I'm 99% sure that they probably followed you, Wes. If not, then let me know and I'll I don't know, lay the smack down.
You'll rough them up for me.
Yeah, get them to follow you.
Maybe it's part of the hero's journey. They have to have like a redemption at some point. All right, so the topic, what are movies that you like that most people don't?
Well, now that we spoiled it for everybody in the chat.
The two people that are in the chat right now?
I was like, what do you mean two people?
Well, when Geekscraft counts as two.
Three, maybe four people. No, probably about three people in the chat because we count for three. We're also in the chat, by the way.
All right, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yeah, I like it as a topic. I have a couple ideas, and I'm sure that
I have no ideas,
Once-
but it's fine.
once we get going, there's other ideas that usually get generated. So.
Yep.
Yep. All right, I'm ready when the two of you are. Hello, Internet. You are listening to the Making Geeks podcast, a podcast for makers, dads, and geeks. This is episode 194.
Hey,
Hey, folks, how are you doing?
good, good.
It's insane to think that it's 194 already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last week was 193. That's how counting works.
Now, is that the temperature in California, or are you talking about the episode count?
No, this is the temperature in my office. It's hot in here. Yeah, the temperature in California is probably a little bit hotter than that. Last Friday, it was Friday or Saturday. I think it might have been Saturday. It was 115 here.
Wow.
No heat index.
115. What was it?
Does that include heat index or no?
I don't know. I just know that the temperature on my phone said 115. I wasn't
Wow.
looking at all the other factors like humidity or any of those other things that get measured. Yeah, it was.
hot.
Yeah, it was pretty hot. I have a no animals in the house policy, but my dog, who is now 11 years old, yeah, I brought her in. I thought I'd be nice, and
Yep.
it was warm. I think my lawn was about ready to burst into flames. So, yeah, it was bad. So how you guys been?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Just still trying to get a hold on our new schedule here at the house with the kids at school, virtual school, and me running IT support for them while trying to do my own stuff while all being. It's like a hybrid of the stay-at-home dad and what I, in workshop time, but it's like the least productive of both.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not productive in either one of those more than the other. They're equally bad. Yeah.
It seems like they constantly pull time from each other.
Yeah.
That makes it kind of difficult. Yep. I know the feeling. I definitely know the feeling right now.
But they're getting better. Grant's getting more autonomous, which is good. But yeah, just settling into the routine, I guess.
None of my children are autonomous.
Automatons?
Dang it. Autonomous. No, autonomous.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
This is Scythe all
Autonomous.
over again.
Is that it? None of my children are autonomous, so I envy that day when they're like your children and could be a little more autonomous.
Or you could just say independent. That works too.
Yeah.
Independent.
So, Donovan, you have some big news, don't you? That you finished something finally?
Oh, that I didn't already. Oh, yes, because last week I was on the last piece. I've finished the Playhouse.
Yay!
I'm so excited. I actually put a couple details on it. I added a little solar-powered lamp light that's going to go right by the door. I tried to get one that looked as close to the lamp that's in the game as possible. And then I also put up a couple boards to support the chimney, because in the game the chimney is kind of all wonky and angled, and there's supports on either side of it. Mine's a lot more straight looking, but I still wanted to put those supports up on the chimney to give it the look just like the game. So with that, there's literally there's only one other thing that I want to do, and that's put a little decorative design inlay right above the door on the inside of the house. Other than that, the Playhouse is done. I've started editing the video. I'm up to 800 shots, which is crazy. It is crazy. I mean, I've described this before, but most of my videos are anywhere from 100 to 150 different shots, different angles. Hit the record button, stop the record button. That's one shot. Move the camera, hit the record button, stop the record button. That's one shot. And most of the time, when I'm making a video for YouTube, it's anywhere from 100 to 150 shots, and I can narrow all of that down to like 5 minutes or so. This one is 800. and it's 13 hours of footage that so far I've edited down. The parts that I've edited down come to about 26 minutes. I still have about 150 more shots that I need to edit down. So I'm looking anywhere between 30 and 40 minutes for the rough cut. And then I've got to go back and just shoot some B-roll. If I missed anything,
Pick up
go
shots.
back and pick up shots. And then it's just editing, trying to get the pacing. Since this video is going to be so long, I really want to make sure I nail some kind of pacing that doesn't seem too boring. And injecting elements into it to where it sparks people's interest every minute or so. So it's been a task to go through 800 shots and try and figure out how to put them all together. It really makes me feel for the editors that do those like HGTV shows where they go in and they like flip a house or they do a backyard project or something like that. And there's like 3 different camera guys, and you know that the amount of footage that's in there must be insane. But yet they do a really good job in making it coherent and cohesive and breaking up the monotony by, changing angles or changing the perspective of who they're talking to, which I don't have that in mind because it's just me and my camera on a tripod. But it really did make me feel for people that edit shows like that and how hard it is to be good at telling a good story with with that much information.
In some ways, I think it kind of hurts you that you came from a film background, because here's my reasoning for it. It's not because of, and it's only for this one reason, that as a filmmaker, I know you probably want to try to capture everything you can, and then when you get in the editing room, you don't want to have anything kind of left out, possibly from your shots. So you end up with 800 shots.
Well,
And I'm wondering if you should look filming a little bit more economically, because most videos like this have somewhat of a pattern. You have a wide shot, you have a close up, you move the camera. It sounds excessive.
yeah, I mean, this is also the largest project that I've ever
Well,
done.
I understand that too. I mean, the sheer hours you put in, I understand that's a huge factor. But my God, that's a lot.
Yeah. And it's I mean, coming from the film background, it reinforces the fact for me that I want to tell narrative. I want my tutorials to be narrative style rather than watch me work style, which having the wide shot, the medium shot, the close-up shot is really great for watching me work type videos, which are fantastic. I'm not digging on them at all, but like I want to, I don't know, edutainment. I want to entertain. I want to tell a story on top of, showing the watch me work part of building whatever it is that I'm building. Yeah, 800 may be a little excessive.
I mean, that's my point. I mean, because when you
But
get down to it,
Yeah, but it is easier to like cut stuff out rather than to be like, oh man, why didn't I catch that one part? It was so cool. Like there's this one moment that I was working on the back of the house, putting the frame around the back window, and my daughter was inside, and she like popped her head out of the window, and she put up her thumb. She's like, "Good job!" And I was like, "Yay!" And it's this little random cute moment that I'm gonna have in the video now because my camera just happened to be rolling while I was putting on one little piece on the back window. And so moments like that, I am glad that I am being a little excessive in the amount of footage that I have to be able to catch those little moments where like my daughter pops through the window, or I play like whack-a-mole in the frame for the balcony, popping in and out, things like that. It's those moments that I want to catch rather than trying to get every detail of every screw that I'm putting in or every board that I'm laying down or whatnot. If that makes sense.
Do you archive your footage, or do you delete it when you're done with the project?
I archive everything.
You must have like a server farm at your house.
Yeah, I have 5 hard drives. I have a 4 terabyte, um, and 3 1 terabyte hard drives. I Most people don't know this, but I've been on YouTube a lot longer than just Once Upon a Workbench. I uploaded my first YouTube video of my friends back in 2009. And then ever since 2011, I have been putting out YouTube videos on a conglomerate of different channels. And so I have, see, it's 20, I have 11 years and probably 300 YouTube videos worth of footage that I have archived on various hard drives, which is, I don't know. I understand why people go and just delete all the raw footage and keep the final product, but for some odd reason, like, there's always moments where I want to go back and take a clip of, this moment from this video or this moment from this video, and find it and use it later, which I've done. And it's nice to be able to have that footage to go back and look on, and it's fun. It's kind of fun to go back and see. It's, oh yeah, I remember that. That was pretty cool. So.
I suppose.
It is a little excessive.
Yeah. So, other than trying to live in what looks like a post-apocalyptic environment right now, almost like a scene from Fallout, just been doing a lot of work. Been getting into, because I'm teaching it, I've been drawing again and stuff. But I also got part of my next project done for my next video, and I'm holding it up to the camera right now. And if unless you're watching the live stream, you're not going to get to see it. So this is a video I'm doing for Elegoo, for one of their electronic kits, and it's going to be how would I describe it? Kind of an automated LCD sign when somebody gets too close to my door when I'm in here working or recording, or in other words teaching, that a sign will come up and it'll say recording, or they get too close and like a red flag will raise up on a servo to let people know to back up. I was also thinking of having like an audible beep, but I think that would kind of ruin the whole purpose of trying to stay quiet. So I'll see how far I can push this. I got about 90% of it working, and now I just have to figure out how to put it into kind of a nice little package that I can mount on my door, shoot some shots, and be done with it. So I'm hoping I'll have it done by the end of this weekend. So
Nice.
that's what I've been up to. Yep.
It's pretty fun and rewarding at least when you get stuff working with that. Like the tinkering is really enjoyable for me when I'm just messing around with those sorts of sets.
I'm starting to like it because I'm starting to understand it.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the biggest difference. And I first did stuff like this back in high school. Building circuits and the introduction to all these components was a part of my physics class in high school, which is cool because at that exact same time, I was working at Chuck E. Cheese fixing arcade games. So when arcade games would break, I was able to take one of the rare instances where I was able to take knowledge directly from the class in high school and apply it to what I was doing for my job, which isn't something that usually happened that often. I wasn't at work and all of a sudden had to write an essay about, Huck Finn or some crap like that. But 25 years ago is when that happened. I've forgotten a lot of it since then, and a little bit of it's coming back to me, and some new stuff too. I like it. It's fun. We'll see what other trouble I could get into with it.
That's really cool.
Yep. So Donovan, you want to take us into our topic today? Since you were talking about storytelling and narrative, I think that might apply a little bit to our topic today.
Well, the precursor to getting the idea for the topic was that text message I sent you. So I have discovered.
Yeah, give the audience a little.
I've discovered a new channel. It's new to me. It's by no means new because this guy has been putting out videos for a decade now. But his name is Patrick H. Willems, and he does video essays about film. He majored in film, I want to say film history in college, and he just breaks down movies or series or filmmaking, different aspects of it. And coming from a filmmaking background, I am still hugely influenced and love diving into filmmaking essays where they break down directors or videographers or style or story or structure or color grading. Anything like that is really cool. And so I have been binge watching his videos, and there's one in particular on why Rise of the Skywalker is great and why you should think so too.
Last Jedi.
Yeah, why Last Jedi is great. Why I think Last Jedi is great, and you should too. And I texted it to Sean and said, I thought of you when I watched this. And he replied back, I don't have to watch it to know he's wrong. And so it gave me this idea for a topic of, I know movies and liking movies, it's a very subjective thing. Everybody's preferences are different. Everybody's experiences are different. Everybody's reason for liking a certain movie could be, very different. But that being said, there are certain movies that, as a whole, most people think are terrible or they don't like them. But maybe there are some movies like that for some odd reason you do like a movie that everybody else hates. So I thought we could talk about, hey, what kind of movies are there that everybody else hates, but you secretly or not so secretly, because we're going to talk about it, like.
I want to say one thing about The Last Jedi, though. And I know that we've talked about it a lot on this channel already, and I really don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but I feel it's kind of like something kind of like dangling and left, untidy here. I don't think Last Jedi is a bad movie. I think that, and I said this when we did the review of, I would consider it good or bad depending on how Rise of Skywalker was. And Rise of Skywalker was crap, therefore Last Jedi is crap. If the Rise of Skywalker was good, then I would have said The Last Jedi was good. And if anybody's confused by that,
Guilt by association.
Yeah, it really is. I will point everybody back to the episode where we had that full long conversation, so we don't have to retread all this same ground over again, because it'll be almost an identical conversation. I can guarantee it. So Donovan, since you posed the topic to begin with, do you have a film that you think would fit that bill?
Oh, I had a little list going in my head of different movies that I know are not popular or liked, but that I like or I enjoy for my own particular reasons. And it's funny because as we were before we started recording, in the comments, when Geeks Crafts was like, if someone says Avatar movie, I'll come and find you and hurt you. Because that is one that I'm not saying I like it. This is not a precursor to me saying I like Avatar.
That sounds a lot like you like Avatar.
No, but that was directed by
M. Night
Shyamalan.
Yep.
And
I thought you were talking about the other Avatar. Okay, never mind.
No. The Last Airbender.
Okay.
Yeah. M. Night Shyamalan, for a myriad of reasons that we could get into in its own discussion, people do not like his movies. But once upon a time, he put out movies that were actually pretty good. His first movie is still probably going to be remembered forever. And right around the time before he started getting into the movies that everybody hates, there was this movie that he put out called The Village. That I really liked.
That's the last one I liked.
I hate that movie.
The reason is that my wife hates watching movies with me, because having worked in the film industry and having watched as many movies as I've watched, I can find plot lines and figure movies out within like the first 15 minutes of a movie, and I'll make little comments while the movie is going and end up ruining it. My wife hates it when I do that, because I ruin movies. Because I could, for some odd reason, like I could always anticipate what's going to happen. Because I've I'm like that guy in the one M. Night Shyamalan movie with the water lady and
Lady in the Water.
lady in the water. The movie critic who is never impressed by any movies because he can always figure them out. Like nothing surprises him anymore. I'm kind of like that. Not to that extent. But I can usually figure movies out. And The Village was one of the only movies that I think I've ever saw that when that little twist at the end happened, I was like, whoa. That got me because I did not see that coming. And because of being surprised by that twist and how well it was executed, I was like, wow, this is a good movie. I like this movie. And for that reason, I like The Village. Even though I know that a lot of people really don't like The Village. They don't. But for me, for that reason, I like The Village. That's
I'm on Team Village.
You're on Team Village?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that is my first entry in this.
Why are you so fervently against that one, Sean?
I think I was against it for the exact opposite reason that Donovan was for it, because I figured it out early on, almost from the opening credits. I forgot what it was, but I knew exactly the story that we were telling, and I think it's very similar to something else that I had read, a story that I had read somewhere else. The whole thing seemed telegraphed, and I hated it.
You hate it just because you figured it out?
That was one of the reasons, but it seemed a little bit gratuitous. Like for that experiment that was being run. If anybody hasn't seen the movie, well, go watch it. I guess and you can decide for yourself. I don't know. It seemed really hokey to me, and maybe it's because the illusion was broken so early on. That seemed like the movie's only selling point. You know, there's some of the symbolism of the red and some of the cinematography was nice, but it seemed like the entire movie balanced on that one thing, on that one turn. And I think a good movie has to depend on more than just that. But that's just me.
Fair point.
If
it's not to say that I don't understand why people don't like it.
Right.
But for, like I said, for me, for that reason, that's why I like that movie. It's why I enjoyed it.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to piggyback on that one because aside from what I mentioned when we had the chat earlier, there's a movie that I like of M. Night's that a lot of people don't like. And you already mentioned it, which is Lady in the Water. I really like that movie, and a lot of people don't. You know, talking about hokey, I know it's kind of a hokey movie and kind of weird and quirky, but I think that's kind of why I liked it. You know, kind of went full bore with it when, you know, he was already known for doing a lot of these, you know, weird twists, and a lot of people were expecting. I don't think there was the same type of twist in that film, and I kind of liked it. It seemed, you know, it was a little bit more fantasy and a little bit more, you know, ridiculous in some ways, but I kind of liked the essence of it in that one scenario. So Lady in the Water would be my pick.
Okay.
Aside from M. Night trying to self-aggrandize himself as being such a great writer in the film, if anybody remembers that part, I could have done without that. There's something about the greatest American story being written. Yeah, you'd have to go back and watch it, but it seemed a little bit
self-aggrandizing.
There you go. Yeah.
Mine, let's see. So let me set the stage. So I think I've talked about this movie before. I'm pretty sure I have, but after almost 200 episodes, that's just going to happen. But my first choice that comes to mind, I was in the military, in the Navy when this came out. The person, let's see. The person that created it was well known for directing several movies. He was a writer, I think, as well, primarily. His animator he had hired on for this one specific scene actually knew of his work before he did a short online called The Killer Bean. If anybody ever remembers this animated short, it was about like coffee beans. It was just kind of like a personal project, and they were like coffee beans that would like act like they're in the Matrix, I think. And there was a second one, and it was like really, really well done. And the guy ended up getting hired as an animator for several feature films before and after this series. And I remember seeing the trailer for this particular movie I'm referring to, and it looked really stupid. I had no interest in watching it. But then just something kind of struck me, and when it came out, and I was just in the mood for something silly and stupid, and I was so sick of being straight-laced and, all the time militaristic and all this stuff. And every once in a while, I like to have a stupid movie as like a palate cleanser, just something off the wall and bananas. And this movie features this is where you're going to remember it.
I'm so confused as to what movie you're about to...
It's got martial arts in the movie. It features a CG animated cow that shoots milk in bullet time. And it features the Chosen One, and this movie is called Kung Pao Enter the Fist. It's one of my favorite movies that's like so ridiculously dumb. But after watching it and reading about it and learning about it, it's like one of those that at face value, it's easy to write it off, right? But if you actually like take the time and do a little research or like the commentary, it's really fascinating because if those are not aware, he basically took two old like chopsaki movies from back in the day, and he spliced them together, and he superimposed himself that was on a green screen into the movie. He effectively replaced the main character in two movies that he sandwiched together. He added some other special effects. He wiped all the audio and dubbed everything. And like he didn't do it to be accurate, but he did it on purpose to be terrible. Like there's like one part where there's just so many moments in that movie that are just stand out ridiculous. Like there's like Taco Bell sponsorships in the movie. There's a part where there's a dog, and the dog just looks like he barks, but because it's dubbed, there's like a 4-second delay before you hear the dog bark. And it's just ridiculous. And if you like watch it and like realize how much work he put in behind the scenes, he had this whole script that he would read that was not recorded in audio, but just to get funny movements out of his mouth. So there's like a director commentary, like audio track, I believe, that you can hear him saying ridiculous words. It's not even like sensical. It's completely ridiculous, like string of words just to get funny animations and movements out of his mouth. He wiped all the audio off and then superimposed other English words on top of that. So it was just like completely bananas. It's weird. But yeah, I don't know. It's just great. And there was supposed to be a sequel and like I think a 3-part, but he obviously didn't get any funding for the next ones, I guess. I don't know what the story was. I was always hoping for a sequel, but I'm looking forward to showing that to my daughter and kids when it's appropriate for them. But
yeah, when they're old enough.
It's so quotable, yeah, and it's just hilarious. I love it.
That was Bob Odenkirk that did that, right?
Bob Odenkirk, yeah.
So what's funny is during that time, my one of my animation professors worked on that movie with Bob Odenkirk, and I also worked on Thumb Wars after that with him.
Huh.
If you remember Thumb Wars.
Yeah, of course.
Thumb Wars.
Yeah, I didn't know that Bob Odenkirk did the Killer Bean thing.
No, there was an animator that he had hired that did the cow sequence. Okay. And the reason I was like extra interested in the movie is because I followed his other work. It was just a random internet short thing, and it's pretty funny.
Killer Bean thing. Okay.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So I'd recommend Googling it. I'm sure it's on the internet. Just Killer Bean. I think they even made a third one, but like the first one was really crude, and I think it evolved over time. It like took on some Matrix properties, and it was really quite like the cinematography and stuff was really good, even though the characters were kind of crazy and weird, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my first pick is Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
You know, along that same line of ridiculous kung fu movies, There's one called Kung Fu Hustle, which to this day is one of my favorite kung fu movies ever, and it is insanely ridiculous. But everybody likes that one, so it doesn't fit into this conversation. But yeah,
yeah. I mean, because if you start talking about whether it was a Kung Pao or Kung Fu Hustle, then it's like Shaolin Soccer. There's a couple of them.
Oh gosh, Shaolin Soccer. That was the other one.
Yeah, they're riding the wave of that kind of ridiculous kung fu action and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if it came before or after Crouching Tiger, but it seemed like people were kind of relishing in like the ridiculousness of the martial arts action and fantasy.
I'm pretty sure it came after Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah, I think that's what started it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Donovan, I think we're back to you. So
back to me.
Back to you.
So another one that is on my list is kind of a two-parter because it's the same director, and both movies were kind of panned. It's Joseph Kosinski. Kosinski. Yeah. Anyways, Kosinski. Krasinski is the other guy. Kosinski.
Okay.
Yeah. So Joseph Kosinski, he was the director for Oblivion, which a lot of people didn't like, and Tron Legacy, which a lot of people didn't like. But that being said, for Oblivion, a lot of people panned it because they felt like it was just a really long episode of The Twilight Zone with Tom Cruise.
I like that movie.
Which it kind of was, but the production of that movie and the beautiful landscapes that they filmed, it was like Iceland, right? That they got in Iceland. Just the production value of that movie was so amazing. And I love directors who do practical as much as they can. And that was a movie where so much of it was done practically. And it's just amazing seeing how much can be done in camera without having to rely on VFX. Now, that being said, his other movie is like almost all VFX, which is Tron Legacy, which a lot of people didn't like. And I can understand why they didn't like him. But I've talked about it on the podcast before. I really like light and the use of light and the set design and the costumes that they developed for Tron Legacy in continuing on the storyline of Tron, because I loved the first movie, back when I was a little kid, and it was like a movie for little geeks. It was about computers and RAM and all these buzzwords that everybody knows now, but back in the day nobody did unless you were like a little computer geek like me. And so Tron was a movie that spoke to me as a little kid, because like I understand all these references, and so I was excited when they were going to make Tron Legacy, and I loved the concept designs that they did in continuing on the legacy of the original Tron, but making it new and modern and sleek. And the electroluminescence I thought were just so well done.
And soundtrack.
And the soundtrack is one of the best movie soundtracks ever. Daft Punk, even the well, not the remastered. What do they call it? De-res version.
De-res, yeah.
Yeah, both of them, fantastic soundtracks.
It's usually not even a movie soundtrack. In some ways. When
it comes to soundtracks, usually there's like one or two songs in the entire movie that you're like, oh, that's really good, I want to get that. But no, the entire soundtrack is just phenomenal. It's amazing. That paired with the lighting, with the sound design, all that other kind of stuff, fantastic movie. Love it, even though a lot of people don't like it.
I like both those movies, by the way. I really enjoyed them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm not one of those people.
Can agree on.
Oh, there are a lot of things that we agree on, but there's also some things that are fun to not agree on.
Yeah.
I agree.
And that actually might be the case for what I'm going to bring up next. Because my second pick, since we're probably only going to get two rounds, and it kind of go together, which is the the Matrix sequels. I think they're great. I absolutely love them, and a lot of people don't, for a lot of good reasons. But I think that they are very good for what they are. For anybody that has seen the original Matrix and thinking about how that story could have been extended, I think there are infinite possibilities and different paths that the filmmakers could have gone down. But for the path that they chose, I thought ended pretty much exactly how it needed to for their choice in that one instance. Some things are a little bit hokey, some things could have been improved a little bit, but I think the overall arc of the story went exactly as it needed to for, like I said, their choice for the way it went. So,
I have a confession.
go for it.
I have not seen 2 or 3.
All right.
But I can't disagree with you.
Well, it was nice knowing you, Donovan. We'll be looking for your replacement soon.
Okay.
Actually, I would love to hear. Well, both Wes, I think you've seen the sequels already, right? But Donovan, if and when you get around to it, I'd be kind of curious about your opinion of it. I have a feeling you're going to tear it down a lot in terms of story narrative, which it probably deserves to a degree. But with all the studying I've done of the movie, the background, the symbolism, and everything that I've even written several papers on, I thought it was pretty good for what it was. So.
Now, are you including the what is it called? Reloaded? No,
the game.
No, what's the collection of like 6 different
The Animatrix?
Animatrix? Are you including the Animatrix?
No, because one, I think that is phenomenal, yes, and that actually was probably better received than the sequels themselves, just because they're small little vignettes of scenes would happen within this world, and I think those are phenomenal. I think that was actually overall better received than the movies were, but no, I'm talking about the actual sequels, the Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions. So that is mine, and I stand by it.
Okay.
I had an idea, and I was starting to research it like on my phone for a second, and then my brain got distracted by him saying he never saw the second 2, and it completely derailed me, and I have no idea what I was gonna look up.
Oh man.
Should
we recreate the moment to maybe trigger that thought again?
I don't even know. I was trying to do that in my head, but it's just gone. I'm just 41. What can I say? I guess I'll just claim that. I would say I wish I just saw the first one for the Matrix movies. I wish I could be in your shoes. I wanted to like it so much. And there are parts that I liked, but there are parts... I only saw both sequels in the theaters. And I just remember, like, at the end of the second, I was just sitting there. And I didn't even know what to think. I'm just like, really? And I'm like, I'm glad I have another one to look forward to. Nope. No, I really
They're
didn't.
filming
Matrix
4 right now. Is it 4 or 5?
No, it's the 4th one, whatever they're going to call it and however it's going to be set up, yeah. I can't promise that I'm going to like that one, but yeah.
There are elements that I did like, and I can't remember the specifics of things that I didn't like to have a debate about it. But I just remember my feeling there in the audience, and I don't know, I was very disappointed. I may have to watch them again.
A lot of people were.
Yeah.
I think that those 2 movies were specifically one of those occurrences that people had an expectation of what would probably happen.
Yeah.
And none of that happened.
Yeah.
And I had to get over it myself because I had already mapped out the rest of the story in my head after the first one of what I thought it would happen.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, that wasn't the case.
When you were talking about Oblivion, there are several Tom Cruise movies that I can usually say that I like. I like most of his stuff, where a lot of those movies are polarizing. Trying to recreate the thought pattern in my head where I was going, because you started talking about that, and I started talking about the Moon movie, which a lot of people haven't seen, but I really like that.
Fantastic.
That's a head trip.
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell.
Then I got to Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind. I really like that. I don't know how popular that one is. Everyone loves that one.
Love it.
I don't ever talk with. Then Vanilla Sky, I really liked a lot. A lot of people don't, so maybe I'll just count that one. I don't know. There are a couple that I would consider a little more not obscure, but I don't know. I don't hear them brought up in many conversations much. So I just anticipate they're not like on the zeitgeist, of pop culture nowadays. But there were a lot of like Kevin Smith movies that I liked a lot as a kid or as a teenager and as a young adult that I don't like as much now. So that doesn't really count. I don't know.
That may be a conversation in and of itself.
Yeah. There's a lot of movies that I wish I had liked more, like the two Jurassic Park sequels. I wish they were better than they were. I don't know. I would say some of the Terminator movies. Okay, Terminator Salvation I liked more than most people did.
Wait, was that the
Christian Bale
one?
Yeah.
I really liked that one. The production value and the lighting on that movie was just on point.
Is that the one that also had Sam Worthington in it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It had Arnold sort of in it.
Yeah.
I hate how they ruined the whole movie in the trailers, but
yes,
that
I
being
agree.
said, yeah, that was I really liked that one.
I remember I was at the Comic-Con announcement of that movie, and they were trying to justify how they were making another Terminator movie, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's all I got. A hodgepodge of different ideas there. Can't choose one.
We should probably write some of these ideas down because there's some good topics in there too.
Yep.
So
my last entry will probably be my last entry since we're out of time. But this also happens to be my favorite Star Wars movie, which is Rogue One. I know a lot of people don't like it. Like I said, I can understand why people don't like it. I think it's the best Star Wars movie. It's my favorite. I love the silence that follows.
I gave that.
Don't like it. I don't not like it.
And I had a similar response. We did a review on the podcast. I think, Donovan, it might have been before you joined the podcast. And I remember that my response was almost identical to Wes's. And I said, I don't not like it. But I will also say that with the last 3 Star Wars movies that have come out, my standing and view of Rogue One has gone way up. So, by association, and it's in some pretty terrible company, has made Rogue One seem better than I would typically view it. I don't think it's a bad movie by any means. Once again, I think that's another situation where you would have certain expectations of how the movie would be compared to what ended up happening.
And also, the trailer didn't help either, since it showed scenes that were never even in the movie.
Oh, yeah. That was disappointing.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
We rebel.
AT-AT on the beach. And,
the TIE fighter stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked it more than Solo.
I've come to appreciate Star Wars stories that can stand on their own without having to be tied into the saga. That is why I love season 1 of The Mandalorian, and why I am deathly afraid of season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Be very afraid.
Because I feel like it's going to be the intertextuality. Like they're going to try and find a way to tie it back into the saga, and it's just going to kill it. That being said, did you see that movie? It was posted on the Stay at Home Dad's Geek Facebook page of the leaked teaser trailer for Mandalorian season 2. I almost threw my phone through a window because of that stupid video.
Is that the one that got rickrolled?
Yes.
Yeah, I was kind of pissed at that one too.
Oh my gosh. Because it wasn't the Rickroll. It wasn't that. It was the, hey, this is Mandalorian season 2, and it opens on the Sarlacc pit, and I'm like, no, 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 and it just kept getting worse, and then it got Rickrolled, and I was like, oh, okay, whew, I get it now. But up into that point, I'd literally almost threw my phone. I was so mad. I'm like, please don't.
Yeah, except that's real.
This. Please don't ruin this.
But except that's real.
No. We don't need Boba Fett in the Mandalorian. Please.
Sarlacc pits don't digest Mandalorians very well.
Oh. Well, I liked season 1.
Well, at least it has that going for it.
Yeah.
All right, so if you're not geeking out about that, what are we geeking out about?
I'm geeking out about some movies that I've been introducing Samantha to. I've been waiting for this particular movie. It came out on my birthday in the mid-90s. I saw it with my grandfather. I have fond memories of it. I've already sort of mentioned it already, and that is the first Jurassic Park movie. I showed that to Samantha, and she loved it, which I'm raising her right. That movie is so good, and there are a couple shots in there. The only shots that don't hold up are the ones that they like shoehorn CGI in, that they couldn't have done it any other way, like the giant like brachiosaur moment at the very beginning when Sam Neill leans up or like rears up and they're in the Jeep and he pulls his glasses off. Like that one's not too bad, but it shows its age a little more. But everything else with all the practical effects with the giant T-Rex animatronic and the humans in raptor suits and the spitting dinosaur and all the stuff, like all that stuff that they didn't use CG in, it's just like Samantha was just like wanting me to pause it constantly, like how did they do that? Like the movie magic thing was in full effect, and I'm just like, this is a great, perfect movie. But then the second series that I introduced her to, we had been watching a lot of the I'm watching your comments, and it's actually related to this. I've been introducing her over the last couple of years to Star Trek, The Next Generation. I've showed her one of the Voyager, a couple of Voyager episodes, a couple original series. And I wanted to show her some of the movies, and I know there's probably a proper sequence, but I just went to the more modern, flashy, attention-grabbing stuff. Plus, I wanted my wife to watch it with us. And so we watched the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, which I quite like. I think it's still really good. And then tonight we finished the second one, which I still think is not as bad as people say. Having never seen any of the other ones that it's obviously relating to, from her perspective, she had never seen the original movies. And so if it's a standalone movie, I think it holds up. I think it's good. I'm interested to see her reaction, though, when we're going to go back and watch the original movies and see the mirror of that, where she was supposed to have the other, that first. Like, how do you react to the inverse of that, where, the other person dies? So it's interesting. I'm curious as to how that's going to work. But, yeah. She also liked pointing out like all the different MCU actors that popped up in like Jurassic Park and the Star Wars movies. So she's like, oh, this and no, like that's Nick Fury. What? And just. And I was like, see if you can see Thor in Star Trek. She's like, what? Thor's in there? Like, oh no, that's Thor. Like that's a good one. A lot of people don't realize that unless they're like have their ear to the ground and for movies like we do. But he does not look like Thor. He does, yeah. But yeah, it's good. But I agree with Maker's Portal, who just commented the JJ Star Trek movies. The one thing I would like complain about is their audio is not balanced very well. So I kept having to like throttle the audio up and down. Like every exterior like space shot is loud, and then they go back to the internal like talking, and I have to like crank up the volume, and I was constantly up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. But maybe my system's not balanced right, but I don't have this problem with any other movies. But yeah, I'm just excited that she's in another stage of me introducing stuff to her, which is one of my favorite parts about having kids, which is sort of self-serving, but
It is a lot of fun. I enjoy that too. You're not alone in that by any means. I am geeking out about another Netflix show this week. This week I'm geeking out about Cobra Kai. I am in love with that show. My wife and I finished both seasons in 4 days,
wow.
and we're like eager for season 3, which probably won't come out till 2021. We've shown all 3 Karate Kid movies to my kids, but we'd heard some interesting things about Cobra Kai, and I'm glad that we previewed it first because it is not for kids.
Nope.
And I love it. I love that it is not for kids. I think it is for parents more than anything else. And I love how they've evolved the actors. I love how cheesy it is, and it's unabashedly cheesy from the soundtrack, which I think is a great soundtrack. The ridiculousness of some of the characters, the situations, all the Easter eggs, which are barely Easter eggs. They're just open and cracked over the top of the, of the storylines, and every little bit of, characters and stories and sayings and tropes that were in, the original Karate Kid trilogy. They've thrown them in here, and I'm all for it. And I think there's a really good core to the overall narrative and story too that I'm really enjoying. Besides the fact that Johnny Lawrence's character is almost a spitting image of my cousin Casey, which I think is hilarious right now. So he doesn't listen to the podcast, but if he did, he probably wouldn't like that. But oh well, that's how I feel. How about you, Donovan?
I am geeking out and kind of freaking out about a movie trailer that just came out yesterday, I want to say, by one of my favorite directors, Denis Villeneuve. It is for Dune, which looks so good. Like, so good. So good.
I'm going to interrupt just for one quick second. I think that trailer and that version of Dune is going to be a better version of Star Wars than Star Wars.
Yeah, knowing Denis, if you like his past work, you can see a lot of the direction that he's probably going to go with this Dune movie, and I hope they make more than one, because there's 6 books, 6, 7, 14. 423. How many books are there? How many books are there?
I have no idea. I've never read any of them.
6. Anyways, it looks so spectacular, and I've enjoyed all of his movies. Every time he makes a movie, it's better and better and better than the last movie he made. The movie that he made previous to this one was Blade Runner 49, which was 2049, which was incredible. The one before that was Arrival, which was incredible. And you can see like how he uses character and story and color and cinematography to just insane levels. Like the artistry of that guy is just, he's one of my filmmaking heroes because of what the story that he can tell using a visual medium. And I am so excited for Dune. I was really weirded out by the original movie and the book, because I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. But I was also really young. But having gone back and watched it, it's still really weird. The old movie is just still really weird, but the books are really good, and I am geeking out hardcore about the new Dune movie that's coming out this year. Not 2021, but this year. And that's even more exciting. It'll be another excuse to go to the movie theater.
All right. Well, you know where else everybody could go? to our website. Yes, we have a website. So go to makinggeeks.com. We have a contact page there if you would like to um, suggest anything for the show, topic ideas, anything you want. Just leave it right there, and we will get that as an email. And on the homepage of the site, you can listen to all of our past episodes for your convenience in any browser of your choice.
And this is the Making Geeks podcast. We are all makers. So if you want to see what we're working on any given moment, come find us on social media. Sean can be found at Geek Builders, Wes can be found at Geeksmithing, and I can be found at Once Upon a Workbench.
And we'd like to take this opportunity to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/makinggeeks for helping us keep the show in the air with their contributions from their pockets to our bank account. Every time we release an episode, they help us here immensely, and the community there is really great. We have a Discord server for them, which we have a lot of fun banter back and forth, and we really appreciate them. Including our top patrons, Clinton and Jordan, thank you so much for your support.
Should have said from their pockets to our podcast.
Oh, that works better. Yes.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that
we need to figure out who's going to take over this part.
I've been doing it, but I spaced.
Yeah.
All right. So you can find new episodes of the podcast every Saturday on your podcast player of choice. We want to thank everybody for hanging out in the live chat. It always makes it for a fun time knowing that we have an audience that is directly interacting with the show, and that makes it even more enjoyable for us. So we usually record every Thursday night, roughly about 6:30 Pacific time, and you can do the math on your own to figure out for the other two time zones. And from all of us to all of you, have a fantastic week.
See you guys.
See you, everybody.
Take care.